we got him, the Hall of Famer Nick Lewis, and I'm chuckling at this. His Stampeders are on a bye. Hey, Nick. And I see the Stampeders alumni are golfing today. Good, buddy. I see the Stamps alumni are golfing today. You strike me as not a golfer, similar to myself. Am I right on that?
No. I golf. I actually got a round at Tor Hill in the other day. Got rained off the golf course. But yeah, I love to golf and have a good time out there.
Okay, but you came to Sask on the bye, so you're not part of the Stampeders alumni here today, and their golf tournament, obviously. What does a guy like you get up to on the bye, Nick? You've had several in your day as a player and now a coach. What do you get up to?
Man, just spend time with my family, just understanding how I can come and spend time with my daughter, my family, and just hang out. It's great because being apart for so much of the year, it is good to get a little family time in while you're on your bye week, refocus, refresh, and get ready to go for another stretch run to the next bye week.
What do people not know about the Calgary Stampeders at 1-1, Nick? What do they not know about your team?
Oh man, we're a lot better than we were last year. Understanding that we're going to compete well, we got a lot of talent, and then I just look around at our receiving core and just seeing the guys in that room that go out and compete every day. And it sucks to have Malik go down again. Such a talented receiver, but at the same time, we have so many talented receivers in that room that are putting out some great effort, make some big plays already in the first 2 games of the season, and we're going to be tough.
Well, let me ask you this. Take the Stamps out of this question. Our poll question today is this. What's the most dangerous quarterback-receiver tandem in the CFL? Running away with the vote, over 60%, is Fajardo-Philpott in Montreal. We also got Dalton Schoen, Zach Caleros from Winnipeg, or Trevor Harris, Sean Bain, or other. Stamps not allowed. Not allowed to vote for your own team. Who is the most dangerous quarterback-receiver tandem right now in the league?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I mean, you look at BC as well. Vernon Adams, he's got a couple guys over there that you could easily put any one of those receivers in that mix. When Hatcher comes back, that's another guy. You got Hollins and Vernon. Like, man, Hollins reminds me a lot of Kelly Campbell back in the day. He played for Edmonton, and he's just flying around everywhere, making big plays and big catches. So, those are two of the guys. If you take away my Calgary options, I'll go with Hollins and Vernon Adams.
Gotcha. Well, I struggled for a fourth. I'll be honest, I did. And Jim Barker was on here last hour, and he said Vernon Adams, Justin McInnis. And out of all that, we're all talking Canadian receivers, which is pretty cool. Justin McInnis was an original first-round pick of the Riders. So what do you think his potential is out there in BC? He's a stud, of course, but Canadian football fans don't really know who he is yet.
I mean, when he played for the Riders, they stuck him out at Z and not really gave him a chance to come to be a slot receiver and really do what he's doing right now, like he's doing in BC. Vernon likes tall receivers, so being able to get the ball on the edges, escape the pocket, and be able to throw it up to a guy like Justin McInnis at 6'5", 6'6", is great. Is great for them, and he makes big plays, he makes big catches, and he's a guy that's going to go up and get it, and he's not afraid to go across the middle or catch it down the field. So. Kudos, and you talk about Canadian receivers. I mean, across the league, we got Jalen Philpott. You see Tyson last night with 150 in the first half. Kean Grant out there. There's so many Canadian receivers that's making plays around the league, and it's great to see. And Emilus and Schaefer Baker here in Santa. So I just, as a former receiver, I'm just proud of where the receivers are, but the Canadian receivers around the league. We have Clark Barnes as well, and Cole Tucker. So it's the receiver spot for Canadians in a safe place.
Well, there's no doubt. And by the way, because you've been working at the grassroots for so long, this probably doesn't really surprise you. I mean, I think if you didn't play with Chris Getzlaff, you would know him well. And Chris always, he didn't want anybody to talk about him being Canadian. He's like, I'm a receiver, right? But there is that bias in this league. But you've seen these kids coming up. You've been coaching them. So from a grassroots level, A, you wouldn't be surprised. But B, it's got to kind of feel good to be a part of that, I would think.
100%. Just seeing the evolution of, just the Canadian period, just understanding more opportunities that they're getting to go to the U.S. and play football challenge, and just competition makes you better. And it's hard to find a lot of great competition, especially when you're in smaller places, that allows you to really grow as an athlete. You need to play people that are better than you or equal to you to really grow as an athlete. So finding different talent levels that you can go compete against is going to raise all tides, and or all tides raise boats, right? So it's like we want to make sure that we're competing at a high level. Seeing these guys come in the league is just amazing to see. So I'm a big fan. I tell them after the game, man, I get to one of the best seats in the house to watch some of my favorite players play the game, and just understand what I can do as a as an alumni in this league, but also a huge supporter of the CFL.
Same here. Mandy in Edmonton writes in and says, by the way, happy belated Father's Day, Nick. I'm just passing that along.
Thank you.
And just for old time's sake and fun's sake, buddy, talking about quarterback receiver tandems that are dangerous, let's just talk about you and Hank. You're in the Hall of Fame now. Let's be honest, both of you. When you were doing it,
Yeah.
did you honestly think we're both going to end up in the Hall of Fame one day? I bet you didn't think about that at the time when you were doing all those things at McMahon.
No. I mean, you don't think about it, especially early in your career. That's one of the things you don't think about. It's somebody else's decision. You're just trying to put it together enough consistently to give yourself a chance to win games. And we were all pretty young back then. Me, Cope, Rambo, coming together with Joffrey, and then with Hank. Even though Hank was 29, I believe, when he got to Calgary, he hadn't really started much. He started the 1 year in SAS, went to the NFL for a little bit. It was mostly a backup for most of his career. So to be able to come in, go through those growing pains those first couple of years, and then finally get to the Grey Cup in '08, we were just trying to stack together enough wins that people took us serious. We were dancing a lot. People hated it. We were doing a lot of things on the field, creating antics, but it's one of those things we were having fun playing the game, and really just understood that if you don't win, you don't stay together long. So that's what our biggest focus was: we go out and win games.
Well, like anything, Nick, I was on the other side calling games for the Green Guys, but I respect greatness. I knew what was going on at the time. This is great. And I know Calgary fans, morning, Declan. Did you know I'm calling baseball this summer? Here's our utility infielder pitcher DH, Declan O'Hare. Oh, man, I'm having so much fun calling baseball here at Roswell's Park this summer.
Nice.
But anyways, to Jake Mayer, Calgary's been enriched. I drive by McMahon and I think I'd love to see like 4 or 5-story high banners of Flutie, Dickinson, Burris, you name it, man. Hopefully, maybe one day they do. That would be so cool. Jake Mayer's got a ways to go to get up there, Nick, and everybody tells me it'll happen. When's it going to happen? Because to me, he hasn't jumped out yet as the guy. So tell me about him, Jake Mayer.
You know what? He's a huge competitor, and it wasn't until I hung out with Brett Ralph that I understood you could be quiet and be a competitor, right? I'm used to the fiery guys and those types of things, but Jake is really soft-spoken guy that goes out and competes really hard, and as you can see, he has raised his level from last year. But at the same time, you look at last year, we're starting 3 rookies in the receiving corps, different old linemen up front. It's hard as a young quarterback to not having consistency in that room, especially when Reggie Bagleton missed a game early and played most of the year injured last year. So having some continuity in the room, having those guys come back, like I said, Clark Barnes, having Jalen Philpott back that missed all of last year, Cole Tucker in his second year, Markin and Reggie. So having just consistency in the room has gave him a little bit more comfortability. And we always talk about backup quarterbacks that are always in waiting to be the starter, but huge shout out to Matt Schultz, who's a very intelligent guy that's come in, and him and Jake talk a lot, and he's done great things for Jake in that room. Also, Bo Baldwin, just a different mindset coming to the game. So I feel like Jake is in a good place. He's comfortable. He's confident. And as you can see, 80% completion percentage the first week. I don't know what it was last week, but I know it's really high. And, we're making plays for him downfield. So we're going to continue to work together and continue to get this done. And we all believe in Jake to be able to get it done for us and, in those clutch games.
Well, and Schultz, back to him being a smart guy, he watches this show. So what more do you need to know for how smart Matthew Schultz is? By the way, Jeff the Stamps fan Jeff, the Stamps fan, we throw an enormous amount of crap back and forth at each other, but he watches this show every day, and I appreciate him for that. So while you're on, I'm going to read his questions to you because we don't have a lot of Stamps talk, but he's here every day, and he says, I'll never forget the Nick Lewis hurdle. I bet you there's a lot of guys that still wake up with a stiff neck, defenders that you crunched, hurdling guys. Did you ever literally hurt some? Because you're a load, man. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You're a load. You're a fire hydrant jumping.
No.
Did you ever hurt anybody doing, or yourself, for that matter?
Yeah, one time I got caught in the air, but other than that, I never gathered. So it was one of those things where it was part of my off-season training where I did a lot of jumps, did a lot of explosive work that allowed me to do it. And for me, it was so I didn't get hit in the knees so much because everybody was going at my knees, so it allowed me not to take those shots. But sometimes guys went high, and I had to go higher. But one time in Winnipeg, I actually cleared a guy, and I think it was Joe Lobendon, who's a good friend of mine now. He caught me on the side and drove me into the side of my hip, and I could barely walk for like 4 or 5 days. I had to go to chiropractor for the first time and get fixed. But that was the only time that I ever took a hit really in the air like that. And it hurt for a little bit, but I made it back.
I'll tell you something about Lobendon. One of the more intimidating guys you're ever going to be around, right? Is there anybody in the league now like it used to be, or are we just old guys saying it's not like it used to? Like Lobo on the field, off the field, he looks like a guy, if you saw him coming down the street, you go to the other side of the street. Is there anybody like that? Chip Cox comes to mind as a guy like that, and I think you played with Chip.
100%.
Is there anybody like that in the league right now?
Off the top of my mind, I don't see anyone like that as far as like linebackers. Very skilled guys at the linebacker core now that make big plays. Micah always a big hitter. On the D line, I look at Tehima out in BC that does a lot of those types of things, but Sankey out in Montreal. So there's a couple of guys in the league that do set a tone, but at the same time, I don't think they approach it with the same physical presence that Joe Lobendon used to and some of the other linebackers back in the day when I first came into the CFL.
Yeah, well, you got a couple linebackers over there that are elite. Always elite. Cameron Judge is elite. But I'm talking about Lobendon.
I think Cam Judge is the best Canadian in the league.
By far. He's outstanding. But, I mean, Lobendon looks like the guy leaning on the car that you're driving in the 7-Eleven parking lot. You're just, let's speed up and not stop. You know what I mean? Because this guy is going to take us out. And I think that's what Joe wants. So... Yes, he's a great Winnipeg Blue Bomber for sure. It's too bad he didn't win in his time.
He came to training camp in Calgary, and I wish he'd have stayed the whole year. But just in that short period of time, in 17 days, 20 days, he changed the whole culture in Calgary. The type of person he was, the type of competitor he was, and he's had such an infectious personality that everybody just wanted to be around him and support him, and he's just an awesome teammate. He's one of my favorite teammates of all time. And, I'm just glad I can call him a friend now.
So what happened? You had, Jawan Simpson and Scott Cohen, too many linebackers there? Or why don't you keep a guy like that?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was right before he came to SAS, right? So I'm not really sure why they made the decisions they made. But, yeah, we did have Jawan Simpson, I think Malik Jackson. Maybe it was after Malik. Maybe it was Deron Mayo. I can't really remember, but it was right in that 2012, 2013 year. I believe that's when he came to Calgary. But now, awesome competitor, awesome teammate. And I'm pretty sure all of his teammates that you ever talk to would speak highly about Joe Lobendon.
All right, great guy. Nick, as are you. I appreciate you filling some time with us here on your bye week. Enjoy it, man. Thanks for this, and good luck with the Stamps.
Indeed. Thank you, brother. Have a good one. It's good to see you again, and glad you're still doing it, man. Because it's great to have some representation around there.
Thank you, man. Proud to do it. The pleasure is mine.